exciting things happening in my kitchen today. We're doing a dinner party. It's Memorial Day weekend. Celebrate start of the summer. A lot of people are grilling. I'm not. We live in an apartment, high rise, no grills allowed. So what's the next best thing? Fried chicken. But not just any fried chicken. This is Keller's fried chicken. If you're not familiar with him, he actually has a restaurant, one of the best restaurants in the world, French Laundry in Napa Valley. So that's super fancy, right? Like one of those huge like tasting courses and probably hundreds of dollars per person. But then he started this restaurant called Ad Hoc. And Ad Hoc is super cool because it's sort of like the way that chefs like would cook at home, or maybe even like the way that the chefs like feed like the kitchen, everybody that works in the kitchen at the restaurant. So it's more casual, more home style. This fried chicken is out of that cookbook. So what you need to know about it first is you probably want to start maybe 2 days ahead. And the reason is you have to actually cook the brine just for like a minute. It's just salt, lemon, a bunch of herbs, water, a lot of water, but it has to cook so then it's really hot. So then you have to let it cool completely. So I think it's best you start 2 days ahead, get the brine, let it chill, and then the next day you can go ahead and put the chicken in the brine. Chicken goes in the brine for 12 hours, right? I actually kind of was a little bit of a weirdo, and last night I set my alarm for like 3 in the morning because I wanted it to be exactly 12 hours. So I was definitely out here like half asleep, putting chicken in a brine. That happened. So anyway, the chicken now is sitting out here. It's nice and dry. You want to make sure they're also at room temperature. So that's why I think air dry works well, because you can just let them sit out for like an hour and a half and they'll be good. So now for the fun part, right? We're gonna dip this chicken. We have a little station set up over here, and what this was 6 cups of all-purpose flour, and then we have a bunch of spices. We've got a tablespoon plus a teaspoon each of cayenne pepper, paprika, kosher salt, and a teaspoon of freshly ground black pepper, and then a 1/4 cup of onion powder and a 1/4 cup of garlic powder. So mix that all together, then put half of it in one bowl and half of it in the other. This is just a quart of buttermilk seasoned with salt and pepper. So first thing you want to do is get the oil going. Peanut oil, perfect for frying. You need a nice deep pot, about 6 inches minimum. So then about 2 inches of oil in the pot. And you want to make sure that you don't go over 1/3 of the height of the pot. So we have that going now. They're going to cook at 2 different temperatures, the white meat and the dark meat. So we're going to start with the dark meat. We're going to let that oil get up to temperature, and then you want to get 2 other things ready. This is what the chicken's going to drain on. It's just a baking sheet with this little rack on top of it so that the oil's kind of soaked down and you don't have a super greasy bird. Nobody wants that, right? And then over here, we just have another baking sheet with some parchment paper, which is what I'm going to put the chicken on once we've dredged it, which we're doing now. Chicken thigh into the first bowl. And now into the buttermilk. Let that excess shake off. And into the third one. And then we're just gonna set this over here. And by the way, don't be afraid of getting messy. This is fried chicken. It's supposed to be messy. So our oil is nice and hot, 320. We're gonna put these babies in. Very carefully. So that's why you don't wanna fill it more than 1/3 of the way up, because it could get dangerous. Once you put more of the chicken in, the temperature is going to go down. So you kind of want to turn the heat up a little bit. Come back up to temperature before I add this last one in. So about 2 minutes in, you're going to want to flip them. And then from that point on, about 11 or 12 minutes more. And you're just going to kind of continue to turn them, make sure they cook evenly, and keep monitoring the temperature. So while our thighs are in there, we're going to now do the same thing with the drummies. Just don't forget while you're here to make sure to check that oil every now and then. All right, I'm taking them out. Oh my gosh, they look insane. Are you kidding me right now? So you wanna drip off some oil there. And then you wanna set them over here, and you wanna make sure that you do it skin side up. That way the grease will kind of drip off. This is kind of bananas. Thighs are out, drumsticks are going in. Make sure you're back up to temperature, which we are. And in they go, little drummies. All right, drummies coming out. And then what we're gonna do is just kind of lean them up against the thighs. And while these were cooking, we did the same little deal with the flour and the stations with the breast and the wings. All right, get the oil up to 340 for the breast and the wings. So I'm gonna do the breast first, and 7 minutes for the breasts. And then the wings are gonna go in for 6 minutes. While it's still hot, you just wanna add a little sprinkling of a good fine sea salt. This is fleur de sel. Cute little dish, huh? 2 breasts and 2 wings at a time so that they all fit together, because otherwise I was not going to fit 4 breasts. And just set your timer and take the wings out a minute earlier. So this is it, the last of the chicken. Perfect timing. My guests will be here in about an hour. Our chicken's obviously going to be cold by then, so Thomas let us know in the recipe that we can actually just heat them in an oven at 400 degrees, and that'll make sure that, you know, they're hot and the skin is nice and crispy. So I just turned the heat off. Let me salt. And then we just have some fresh rosemary and thyme that we're gonna just drop into the oil. Even though the heat's off, the oil is definitely still hot. Woo! With caution. So that's it. Now it's time to get cocktailing. I have some peach infused bourbon that I'm so excited to try. It's been just sitting there teasing me all week. Finally, we get to see how it tastes. I'm gonna mix it with iced tea, and it's gonna be like peach iced tea, but with bourbon. So you guys can find all these other recipes that are gonna be in the menu, like this. This is the peach infused bourbon. They'll all be posted on the blog. This chicken seriously makes me do a happy dance. I can't even help myself. I'm not gonna dig into it yet because it's like, I'm gonna wait for my guests like a good host, but how major does this look?